y'all saying somebody is following the street code, not snitching. Are you snitching or are you not snitching? Because y'all trying to pretend like Kelsey shot me. Kelsey didn't shoot me. And I really wonder why her main problem with me was, you won't tell people I didn't shoot you. I was like, Kelsey, I don't want to talk about this on social media at all. But now you won't even get online and defend yourself. So that really just proves my points. Either you took some money or your life is in danger. Like, why won't you get online and say, because this is what y'all care about. Y'all care about online. Because the case, if you say you didn't shoot me, why won't you get on the stand and say I didn't shoot this? You say it online every day. You figure out how to get your to say you didn't do it. You figure out how to get the blogs to say you didn't do it. But the one would have mattered from was you. You should have said, I didn't do it. Kelsey did it. If she did it, why wouldn't you just say she did it? Kelsey, if you did not do it, why won't you just say, I did not do it? I know who shot me. I said who shot me, and that's why you in jail. Y'all motherfuckers are dragging it online like it's some new evidence. There's no new evidence. Witnesses went missing. Why? I wonder why the witnesses went missing. Did y'all pay them? Why y'all showing up now? Why y'all showing up? It's about to be 2024. Y'all still with me. Y'all still with me. Why? Because y'all see me moving on and doing better. Y'all see me trying to heal and trying to grow. But y'all keep trying to bring me back this way when I'm trying to go this way.
Boy. So we got to talk about a story that is currently grabbing headlines in the news media involving rapper Tory Lanez, who is currently serving a 10-year prison sentence for allegedly shooting rapper Megan Thee Stallion. Now, everybody should be familiar with this story, but if you're not familiar with the story, basically in a nutshell, rapper Tory Lanez was riding around with Megan Thee Stallion and her friends and some bodyguards after a party in LA, and there was a huge argument because Tory Lanez was clapping the cheeks of Megan Thee Stallion and her friend. And according to Megan Thee Stallion's testimony during the 2022 trial, the argument became very heated, and Lanez allegedly insulted her and was making derogatory remarks towards her and telling her to dance, dance before shooting at her feet. Now, a lot of people are very skeptical about the version of the story that came from Megan Thee Stallion for multiple reasons. I think the main reason being that Megan Thee Stallion has a history of lying. Like, for example, she lied about sleeping with Tory Lanez in the first place. She swore it down to Gayle King that she didn't sleep with Tory Lanez and that that was not the type of relationship that they had, just to later come out and admit that she lied to Gayle King.
Hang out with everybody, and I was just going through it.
What was the nature of your relationship with Tory Lanez? Because he has led people to believe that it was a sexual relationship, that it was that you two were dating. What was the nature?
We were not dating. We were really close. We were friends. We hung out like every day, and his mom passed too. So when I felt like we were bonding over that. And
did you have an intimate relationship with him?
Like sexual?
Yeah. Megan, did you have a sexual relationship with Tory Lanez? Yes, that's my question.
I didn't have a sexual relationship with Tory.
So why do you think he's putting out the story that the two of you had a relationship and that you're making the whole thing up?
I think that he is trying to deflect from the fact that he committed a crime.
Yes, bitch, I lied to Gayle King, bitch. First of all, I didn't know that bitch was even gonna ask me about that shit. Bitch was always gonna talk about the shooting. Why'd you ask me about fucking Tory? That's not what this is about. Even if I was, I fucked this nigga like once, maybe twice on a drunk night, but you kept catching me out of my fucking mind.
Yeah, so you seen that, you heard that. Is it any surprise that this rapper, who also is a Kamala Harris supporter, I think everybody remembers Kamala Harris, I think her opening rally in Atlanta, she brought out Megan Thee Stallion to twerk for some votes.
Hey! Yeah! Rule number one.
Is anybody surprised that this woman lied about that, and also considering the fact that she allegedly lied to police as well too when she initially got shot? Okay, she claimed that her foot was injured by glass, okay, and later she revealed that Tory Lanez was the shooter on Instagram, again, after lying to police. So this is why nobody really believes her account, right? Nobody really believes what she said, but regardless, Tory Lanez was arrested for carrying a concealed weapon and later charged with 3 felonies, including assault with a semi-automatic firearm, possession of a loaded, unregistered firearm, and discharging a firearm with gross negligence. And he was later found guilty, convicted on all counts, and sentenced to 10 years in prison in August 2023. Now, one of the reasons why, again, this story is starting to pop up again, is going viral, is because Tory Lanez was recently stabbed in prison, okay, about 14 times. He's still alive, okay, but he was seriously injured. And that's why a lot of people are now asking questions about, hey, should this man really be locked up? Okay, is he really guilty? And you have Republican Congresswoman Paulina coming out and saying that he's not guilty, that he actually is innocent, and she has evidence to prove it. So I want to react to this because I think that this is fascinating, that you have a Republican Congresswoman coming out here and basically going against Megan Thee Stallion, right, the leader of Believe All Black Women, to defend a rapper, right, and to try to prove his innocence. Again, we live in a very, very, very interesting world in 2025. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this.
2022, singer, rapper Tory Lanez convicted of shooting performer Megan Thee Stallion after a party at the Hollywood Hills home of Kylie Jenner. Here's the story. They're at the party. After the party, they get into an argument. Lanez tells Megan Thee Stallion, dance, and shoots at her feet like a cowboy movie, hits her. Proof? Testimony of Megan Thee Stallion, her friend Kelsey Harris, and DNA evidence on the weapon that convinced jurors to convict. Pretty simple, right? Maybe not. Turns out that DNA, only a 0.01% chance that the DNA is from Lanez. He's always maintained his innocence. He was sentenced to 10 years, so this is really about the testimony. Lanez, so what happens? So he goes away, recently stabbed 14 times in prison. Many say it was a hit, okay? Because new evidence is about to come out. All right, a little conspiratorial, but he was definitely stabbed. Lanez supporters believe that the media doesn't care because Megan Thee Stallion is represented by Jay-Z's Rock Nation. Now, I could give a damn about Jay-Z or his company. This just wasn't a case on my radar until now. Why? Paulina. She is a representative from Florida. You see her here on a regular basis. She says she's got new evidence, says it wasn't him. And she joins us now. Representative APL, it's good to have you.
Thanks, Chris. Happy to be back on. And thanks for taking a look at this case.
No, listen, you tell me to take a look at it, I'll look at it. But why did you look at it? I mean, this isn't your jurisdiction. I don't know you to have any connection to any of these people.
Yeah, so as you know, we are on oversight and accountability. And so this case was actually initially flagged for me by Amber Rose. And the reason why I took particular interest in it is because of the fact that they actually had evidence that they presented to me in my office that actually disproved the conviction. So as you stated earlier, that 0.01% of DNA, they actually found 4 people's DNA on that firearm, none of which was Tory's. Not to mention there was 0 fingerprints on the actual magazine. And also, too, as you said, 0.01% chance. I mean, that evidence in itself should pretty much speak for itself. Also, there's been ring footage that's been obtained that actually disproves the whole dance Megan. And so what we're seeing is really there was a case of he said, she said. The evidence wasn't actually respected and properly adhered to actually in the trial. And then they also were doing something that I would find pretty wild and egregious. They were actually submitting his lyrics for rap as evidence to the crime. So look, first and foremost, you have to have a free and fair society. That means we need to respect and uphold the justice system. So I actually reached out today to Gavin Newsom's office, and we are requesting an emergency meeting. We're also working with other Democrats, specifically to the California delegation. But I think that this is something that's pretty egregious, that the way that this was handled, the way that it was. I think that it was largely driven by headlines. And aside from the people involved and the parties involved, obviously I take domestic violence, I take this very seriously, Chris, but I also take very seriously the fact that I do believe, based on the evidence that I've seen, that Tory's innocent. And I think that it sets a really bad message when you have someone of his stature, and also to someone that is as influential as he is, that's being wrongfully incarcerated. And that's exactly why we wanted to use our megaphone for a good reason and help get him his pardon, which I think.
Yeah, I agree with that, right? And this is why I'm kind of covering this story. It's the same reason I'm covering the Derek Chauvin story, right? When people come out here and say, hey, well, Derek Chauvin is innocent and that he should not be in prison. And, you know, I agree with those people, right? I don't think that Derek Chauvin killed George Floyd. So I covered that story, and I'm covering this story for the same reason, in the sense that I believe that Tory is innocent, right? And you know, even though I believe he made some very stupid decisions, okay, I believe that as a man, he made some very, very, very bad decisions. I mean, multiple bad decisions. First and foremost, he should not have been hanging around with Megan Thee Stallion and her friend. And I think he made a bad decision to decide to engage in a sexual relationship with both of them, because that was never going to end up in a good place when you are clapping the cheeks of a girl and her best friend. Yeah, that's never going to end up good, right? Because women will do some crazy stuff for revenge, okay? And in this case, you know, the DNA evidence is saying that there's basically zero chance that he actually shot the weapon, right? He is responsible for shooting Megan Thee Stallion, which would make him innocent. Now, again, there are rumors that Megan Thee Stallion's friend, Kelsey, actually shot the gun. Okay, I don't know who shot the gun, but it seems as if it was more likely that everybody else involved shot that gun than Tory Lanez. Okay, and he's the one that's doing jail time, right? He's in prison for it, and that's just not right. Regardless of how I feel about his decision making, right? It was really bad, but I don't think that he shot Megan Thee Stallion, at least not based off the evidence I've seen, right? For the most part, it seems like he went to jail based off he said, she said, right? He went to jail because in this society, a man is never going to get the benefit of the doubt when it comes to the word of a woman versus his word, right? Especially somebody like Megan Thee Stallion, who is extremely influential, right? In certain circles, right? Certain demographics. Yeah, he was cooked, right? He was cooked, even with evidence that could be exculpatory, right? That could basically get him off, right? So, you know, I think that this case is important, okay? Because, again, you have a man who likely is innocent in jail. And also on top of that, it seems like somebody really wants him dead. Again, as you have this new evidence coming out that could possibly get him off, I don't think that the stabbing is a coincidence. I do think that it likely was a hit. And again, this is why this case is going viral, because it's getting crazier in regards to the evidence that is coming out and what is happening.
So, Luna, who did it? I mean, she says and her friends say that he did it. And who else would have done it? And what proof do you have to support that? I get it. Maybe they didn't make the case the right way with the weapon, but who did it?
You know, Chris, that's not for me to weigh in, and that's definitely for the judge and the jury. But what I will tell you is, based on the evidence that we have, the evidence that we have says that he wasn't the guy. And so I do think that Gavin Newsom has some great attorneys that will look at this, but I'd also like to point out that the prosecutor specifically on this case that initially brought the charges is a very interesting prosecutor. Look into who ran him. And at the end of the day, you know, I think Hollywood, as you know, Chris, and politics does overlap, and there's a lot of interesting stuff that happened there. So look at the evidence for yourself. We've posted it for the entire world to see, to determine for themselves. And I know that Tory's legal team actually has an incredible case. And so we are calling on Gavin Newsom to issue that pardon immediately. And also remember, he was almost killed in jail. I actually talked to him today on the phone, and he said that once he does get out, once he does get this pardon, which I do feel confident that he'll be getting, he's going to work extensively in prison reform, because this should never happen to anyone.
Anna Paulina Luna, this is a really interesting one. I've never covered a situation like this before, but I appreciate you using your platform, and let the legal team know we'll be reaching out if they want to come on to make the case. I'm happy to hear it, and we'll check in with the governor's office as well. Thank you very much for coming on.
Yeah. Of course. And Chris, too, if you want, we can probably connect you with his dad as well. I think it's important for people to know all the facts.
Yeah, I'm here for it. I'll check in with you right after the show. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah, so you seen that, you heard that. So listen, here's the thing. At the end of the day, if the man is innocent, right, they have evidence to prove that basically he didn't do it, or it was impossible for him to have been the shooter, then, you know, hey, he should definitely get a pardon. Okay, I think that a pardon would be justified. I don't believe Megan Thee Stallion. In fact, I believe if the evidence actually does show that it was impossible that he was the shooter, then she should be facing some charges, right? She should actually face some prison time, because she took away this man's freedom based off of a lie, right? And we will see what happens, but you know, there's obviously some politics involved here. A lot of people speculated about why would a Republican Congresswoman care about this, right? Why would she take this up as a thing that she is trying to push. And first and foremost, I believe that Paulina Luna really believes that Tory Lanez is innocent. Okay, so that's the number one reason. But also on top of that, hey, at the end of the day, the Republican Party has made inroads with black males, right? And males in general, right? You're talking about, males of color, so to speak. The Republican Party has did a good job at bringing those in, right? In cases like this, where it's like, okay, this guy clearly, or at least, there's evidence to strongly suggest that he's innocent. The Republican Party kind of taking this up, right? Or at least having a Republican take it up and to try to push for this man's freedom is going to attract more so-called people of color to the party, right? That's just the reality, okay? I think what President Trump has done when it comes to what seems to be his affinity for rappers and helping them with their cases and stuff like that, I think definitely has helped. And this is just going to add to that. And I'm not saying that it's being done, that she's doing it solely for political reasons. I'm just saying this will certainly have a political effect, okay? In the sense that come the midterms, come the 2028 election, if Paulina Luna is successful when it comes to helping Tory prove his innocence, right? Or to get off on this, then yeah, I think that some men will kind of resonate with this, and who knows? Again, it could be a boost to Republicans having such a high profile case like this. I think that, me personally as a man, when I talk about this story, when I think about this story, I can't help but to criticize Tory Lanez heavily because of the decisions that he made. Okay, very, very, very bad decisions. But I don't think he should be locked up in prison for it, especially if he didn't actually shoot Megan Thee Stallion, right? And that's essentially what it comes down to for me. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.